What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? All right, a quick one here. My 1/2-inch socket, and the wrench was broken and I couldn't find the extension, so I ran over to the depot and I got this Husky 22-piece 1/2-inch drive. Comes with the wrench, little extension, all these sockets, and then I went and got this little, these are 3 extra extensions for the 1/2-inch. all right, well, this set here, let me get into the pricing. See, what did I do with the receipt here? Hold on a second. The ratchet with socket, $39.97, and the 3 extensions were $24.97. I know you're thinking for $69, plus tax it came to $69.06. It's not really such a great deal because you can get like a whole set with other wrenches and stuff for maybe $150, but I just needed the 1/2-inch setup, so if that's what you're looking for, we got it right here. Pretty durable. Takes a beating. This guy here, pretty nice for a Husky. So we're going to take this off, and back in that back behind there, I got a 1 1/16 socket, and I needed the extension, and I'm going to take that piece off and we're going to replace it. Well, let's get to it. All right, so again, what I'm changing for the truck here, some of this stuff I like to try to fix by myself first. If I can't figure it out, then I bring it to the mechanic. I have an oil leak, so I changed the PVC valve, and now I'm changing the pressure sensor, oil pressure sensor. And you find that at the back of the engine, behind there in the back. And you need a special socket size. I don't drop it, but you need a special socket size, a 1 1/16. Okay, if you can see that. I had to buy that separate. I didn't have that. It comes in 1/2-inch. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the old one out, and this is what it looks like. Believe it or not, it screws back in, and then there's a plug. This thing's $70, so be careful with this thing. They're not cheap. I do have a little oil at the base of it. Okay, so it could be leaking, and a lot of times people change these. If your oil gauge is acting up and you're not getting a good reading and it's bouncing all over, 9 times out of 10 you got to change this guy and your oil gauge will work. I had a mechanic look at this about a year ago. He told me my gauges were bad. Never changed this. Okay, well, make sure you use the right mechanics. That's all I have to say. So I went out. Again, the Husky 22-piece 1/2-inch drive socket wrench, kid. Comes with all your SAEs and your metric size over here. All right. Then I bought the extensions here. Again, $69 for the kit for both. This was separate. It was like $8 or $9. But again, when I have an oil leak and I don't know how you guys handle it, I try to figure things out on my own. If I can't get to it, and I'm thinking hopefully it's not the rear main seal, I might be able to fix this thing. All right, so let's get to it. Let me remove it, and we'll see what the old one looks like. So yeah, I'm looking. I put the ratchet back here. You got to reach down, and this thing was super loose. It wasn't even tight. So most likely my oil was coming out of the top of that pressure sensor. Again, I want to thank the mechanics for looking at this stuff. I appreciate it. You spend money on these guys. Look, mice were taking some of that insulation last winter, and we had to take care of them. We exterminated them with a stick. All right, let me get this sensor out. We'll take a look at it. All right, well, here she goes. This is the old one. It was barely on. You can see there's a washer. I'm sorry, there's a washer that's supposed to be at the top of that. But that oil's nice and clean. But yeah, I can guarantee you from the looks of the top of that, I had oil dripping out of that thing, and it was loose. So what you're gonna do is you gotta reach your hand back in there, and you gotta find that hole, and you gotta thread it on nice and easy with your hand, and then stick that socket back in, and don't tighten this super tight. And then there's a little plug that you had to take off, tiny little end you pulled and the plug came out, and you're going to find that plug, line it up with this little slot, snap it back in, kid. But I'm hoping after I reset the new one, I'm going to let the truck run, then we're going to head underneath and I'm going to see if it's still leaking. I thought maybe the oil cooler line connection, it leaks from there a lot. Then there's another kind of a oil sensor down near the oil pan, I believe, and there's another type of a plug above the starter, so I might have a leak there too. Now this truck, believe it, remember it's a 2003, so you know it's starting to age, but it's got under 100,000 miles. It's at 75,000, so we're going to clean this guy up and try to keep it running as long as possible. I do want to pass it down to one of my kids, one of my boys. He's turning 16 next year, so let's get this thing back in working condition. Let's grab the new one. Like I said, we're going to seat it by hand tighten, put the socket in, then give it a nice little snug fit. All right, the sensor's installed. A little clip was pushed on. Now listen, when you have leaves like this at the top of your, you know, the outside of your car, and you're blowing them, be careful you don't blow them back into the car underneath, because they end up like at the top of the engine there. So what you're going to do is, I recommend when you're doing any kind of work to your truck, grab a hand blower and get rid of this stuff. You want to get all the crap out from in here, you know, because that will sit, it will start to compost, and then you'll get some rot. Look at the dirt in here. Look, inside here. Yeah, so you want to just take the blower. Get in that engine. I got a freaking pine needle in there. Where the hell did that come from? I'm going to fish it out. I'm going to blow this engine out. We're going to put that cover back on. I got a plastic cover. Then we're going to get in and start the car, and we're going to check that gauge, make sure our oil gauge is working properly. All right, let's give it a shot here. Keep an eye on that oil gauge. All right, she's going up. She's at 40. That's what you want to see. All right. That check oil light could have something to do with that pressure sensor too. So we're going to reset the system. We got 77,000. I apologize. All right, let me just focus in on that. Let's give it the gauge. Let's give it the throttle there. You want to see that needle go up a little bit so you know your pressure is good. I got to change the airbag. I got an issue with because I changed the steering column and I need a new adapter. And I got the engine light on. I put the tester on it, and it's telling me that it's a rear CO sensor. So I ordered 2 of them from Amazon, and I'm going to replace them both. So stay tuned for that video. We're going to get this truck running good for my boy. But yeah, that's what I want to see with that gauge. So if you're ever having problems with your oil gauge, and that thing is going to 0 or shooting back and forth all crazy, silly like, you know, like a silly, like someone getting smacked in the face with like hot bacon grease, go check that pressure, that little part I just showed you on the video. Change it out. If you can't change it, have somebody change it. The part alone was like 70 or 80 bucks, so they're not cheap. But anyways, you can do it. Look at it, it's running nice. I'm gonna get underneath and see if I still got an oil leak after running this thing for a couple miles. And I'm hoping that did it. If for 2003, it's in good shape. I want to keep it going as long as I could. All right, thanks again for watching. What do we got to do now? Hey, yo, Sonny! Oh, you got my bubblegum stash. You see what I got, kid. Oh, look, the gloves. Oh, look, the freaking mask. I mean, come on, cuz. That's what our world is coming to. Sonny!
Yes, Sonny.